Take two. Hey everyone, this is Rachel Armstrong, Vice President of TW Local 577. Today I'm joined by our new payroll chair, Nancy Tsai. She's based out of Nashville, and she is going to go over the basics 101 of how to read a pay report. We've had some of you for just a year that don't know how to read your pay report. There's people that I've met that have been here for 10 years that also don't know how to read their pay report. And this is really important because this is obviously your bread and butter. This is how you pay your rent. You need to know how you're being paid and if you're being paid properly. So we're going to go through the pay summary. We're going to go through each little section of this, break it down, what it means, and then hopefully that gives you some more insight and the ability to actually read what you're seeing with all these numbers and everything like that. So let's go ahead and get started. Nancy, if you want to go ahead and just break down the pay summary of what each of these sections are and what they mean, that would be great.
Okay, so on your pay summary, your first column is going to say awarded block total, which this person's paycheck, they were awarded 77 hours and 70 cents, or 77 hours and 70 minutes. I don't know what you call it. But
isn't it like 70% of a hour?
Yeah. I just call it minutes and people are like, what? But I don't understand their tabulation of that, but it does come out to what it's supposed to be. So the next column is your total credit hours, is the hours you actually worked for that month. The next column is your accrue pay, which is your guarantee of 75 hours. The next one is your guaranteed credit, which is, this is the hard part. So Allegiant prepays you for that month. So this is like a December, this is the December payroll. You were already given your guarantee already. So your first half of your paycheck on the first is going to be 37.5 hours. Your next paycheck for that month is going to be the remaining 37.5, which totals out to 75 hours. But moving on, so the next column is your drop trip granted. This paycheck, no trips were dropped. The next one is your above guarantee. So this person got 22 hours. On the bottom of that hours is how much they made right there. And then the next column is your bonus flight hours. They have 39.75. Special assignment, which we won't get into that because it rarely occurs. Your junior assignment rate, this person did not do any junior assignments or mission modes, which is the next column. No reroutes. The total hours above guarantee is 61.75. And on the bottom of that is what they made outside of their guarantee without the extras like per diem.
So, and then if you add this total right here, 61 plus 75 is the total hours, which comes out to 136.75 hours.
Yes.
I just also want to make a comment on, if you're awarded under 75 hours, this is not going to be an accurate reflection of what you're being paid. It's going to reflect the hours that you were awarded. So if, let's say you're awarded 59 hours, it's going to only show 59 hours and then whatever else you picked up on. But don't worry, because your guarantee credit is going to override that. It's just when you're built under 75, this isn't a good reflection of what you're getting paid. So don't think that they're just paying you what you're awarded. That's why the crew pay and the guarantee credit are there to override this. I just wanted to make that clear. Then also too, up here, these are all the hourly compensation, your bonus flight hour rate, special assignment, the pay for this person at their current year. And then another thing that we wanted to touch on was the mission mode pay, and how oftentimes this is a huge confusion for people, because they'll look at it, let's say they pick up a 10-hour mission mode. So obviously they're getting paid 20 hours. They'll look here and they'll say, oh, I'm only getting paid 10 hours of mission mode. Where's the other 10? What they don't realize is it's 10 here and then it goes 10 above guarantee. Because, and the reason for that is only 10 qualify you towards bonus flight time, or if you're in bonus flight time, 10 would be paid at bonus flight time. And then that other 100% is just paid at your regular rate. So if you only see half of it in there, just look in the other area in the ABG column or the BFH column, and that should be reflected there as well.
And I do want to point out, so where it says total, where it's like $3,068, that is what you made. Anything above 75 hours
Okay.
is going to be there.
Usually what I tell people too is think about your paycheck on the end of the month, what you get paid. Whatever that is, plus this minus taxes is what your 15th paycheck will look like.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. And then obviously, there's deadhead, per diem non-tax. We are taxed because we come home every night. When you do things like charters, this is where the per diem non-tax column would fall into play. This is a law, so we do have to get taxed because we come back. It's just not Allegiant slighting us in any way. And then we want to go down here into the pay detail and kind of break down the differences between awarded, schedule, actual, half of duty, crew pay, what all of those means. It's a lot of numbers. It can look very confusing. But can you kind of talk about the differences between awarded, schedule, and actual and how those work together?
Okay, so on December 2nd, the first trip, they were awarded 6 hours and 67. The scheduled block time, obviously this person worked that trip, so it's also 6 hours and 67. But they blocked out what they actually flown was 6 hours and 75. So okay. You're going to get the higher of the two, which is your actual block time. So that should push over to your crew pay.
Okay.
Awesome. That's what you're getting paid. You're getting paid the higher block.
Great. I know that this often confuses people and they don't really understand if they're getting paid accurately, but yes, if awarded, scheduled, actual, it will always, whatever is the greater will override and be in the crew pay column. And right. Then half of duty, oh, go ahead, Nancy.
So what I like to look at is, I just look at scheduled block time and actual block time, and then the one that's higher should show up where crew pay is.
Okay, that makes sense. And then for half of duty, this doesn't really kick in that often. It's one thing that was in our first contract. We have really productive trips. And so our block time, if you have a 7-hour block day, basically the way that this works is half of your duty time is what you get paid in block. So really the only time you should see this kick in is, let's say you're working a really quick, 2.5 hour Stanford turn, I don't know. And you get delayed for 20 hours, you're going to get 10 hours a block. This will kick in here, and that's your block pay for the day. You didn't have any of that here. But yeah, like we said, it rarely kicks in. Hopefully we can get a better duty rig that kicks in a little bit faster and pays people when delays happen. Then DTG is here. So anytime you drop, this is where it's going to reflect. And you can see the totals at the bottom. There's ABG. And then do you want to talk about when you go from, so ABG is anything from 75 to 97, essentially. And then when you go from that 96th hour to the 97th hour, do you want to talk about how it's split in half?
Yeah, so if you look at that date, the trip picked up was 8 hours.
22nd. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 hours and 35 was the scheduled block time. It actually flew to 8 hours and 55. So what happens is, because you're in between under 97, and then you're going over it on that same trip, it splits it.
Okay.
So,
and then if you add these two together, it's going to add to that 855.
Yes.
Awesome. And then obviously this person, you can see they just strictly worked bonus flight time after that because they had just picked up trips.
Mm-hmm.
So total for BFH is 39.75. And then you can see that reflected up here in the pay summary as well, 39.75. You'd also see, mission mode here. If that person got mission mode, there's the per diem here as well. Do you want to talk about any, maybe anything that is a common things that people maybe see on their pay report that's just them being confused easily? Anything that like comes to mind for you?
I think there's just a lot of numbers there that people don't know what the numbers are.
Mhm.
Like such as the special assignment or the half of duty. Those rarely kick in. So I would just completely ignore those. Those would be like a special case type of situation. What you should pay attention to are the numbers on the bottom should be matching the numbers on that pay summary,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. 77. Yeah. So awarded 77. Scheduled block time 136 point. So 136.22. And then can you like that's a little confusing for me there.
So that's a little confusing. I wouldn't look at those two because, okay, so crew pay obviously matches your crew pay up there, which is also your guaranteed credit.
Mhm.
And then the above guarantee, those, that, if you add all those up, wait, I'm confused now. If you add all those up, it should total to the total credit hours. So I'm just gonna do the math right now.
Yeah, 22 plus 39.75 is 61.75.
Yeah, that totals out to the total credit hours.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you can easily start confusing yourself if you think too much into it, but we wanted to start just doing these videos to just do the basics. If you want to go ahead and send in your pay report, maybe you had delays or maybe you had footprints, anything where there's a cancellation or it gets a little bit more complex, we would love to do videos just kind of breaking down the more complicated pay report. Also, if you have questions about your pay reports, feel free to email Nancy. Her email is payroll@tw577.org. We want this to be a committee that really educates our work group, not just auditing pay reports, but really talking about how to read this, because this is how you make your rent. This is how you feed yourself. It's really important for each of us to know how to read this and see errors, and then know when we need to file a JIRA report. So hopefully this was helpful, and we'll be doing some more of these over the year, and we're really excited to have you on board, Nancy.